what do I need to know about SEO in order to best serve my clients? How much of it matters? How much of it is just what people say? Like, how do I know what to do for my clients when it comes to their website copy and their blog? So I'm super... So here we are, yay! Welcome. Desiree Grimaldi is joining us today for a chat about SEO and freelance copywriting. So this is a question I get asked by my students a lot. Like, what do I need to know about SEO in order to best serve my clients? How much of it matters? How much of it is just what people say? Like, how do I know what to do for my clients when it comes to their website copy and their blog? So I'm super excited to have Desiree here today because Desiree is one of the top experts in SEO. She's run SEO and done SEO for some of the largest names in the digital marketing industry. And not only that, but she has some amazing products and mini courses and resources for business owners, online business owners, and freelance copywriters, people just like me who need more help figuring out this whole SEO thing. Resources that I use and have been super simple, easy to follow, and I love them so much. So, hey, Chrissy, but let me just go ahead and welcome Desiree and let her say hello to you all.
Hi, thank you for having me. We've actually had some of your students go through a couple of our mini courses, which was fun. But yeah, so copywriting and SEO are two different things. And a lot of people think that if you're a copywriter, you should just know SEO. And that's not the case. We all specialize in our own area, but copywriting is just as important because if the words don't make sense, then it's not going to matter what you do to it on an SEO sense. So copywriting for SEO is search engine optimization. You are creating copy with a purpose at the end, whether it's to buy something, inform somebody, but we have to make it searchable. So those are kind of topics that I wanted to cover today. But as a copywriter, if you are optimizing the content, you need to up your price because that is an additional service.
Oh, I love that. Anytime somebody tells me I need to raise my rates, that is okay with me. Now, why is that? Is that because the research that goes on behind that in order to get the right keywords in the right places at the right times?
Well, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more research. And it's for all intents and purposes, it's a completely different skill. It's like hiring a branding person and then telling them, well, I expect you to build my website too. They're not necessarily web developers. So they'll have to do the research and they'll have to design things and code things and things. It just changes and your task at that point or your project expands drastically. So with keyword research and creating copy, you have to do competitive analysis. You have to do keyword research. You have to, it even comes down to how many words it is. So if your competitor is writing content and it's 1,500 words, you may have to go to 2,400 words. So again, it's just piling more onto your plate where you can write copy for somebody and then they can have an SEO team that optimizes it. We've done that together on a couple clients and it works fantastic. But again, it's two different full-time project hours. So yeah, definitely.
Who's relieved by that? I will raise my hand on that. Sometimes I think that not only is that a misunderstanding that maybe we put on ourselves, but that prospective clients don't understand that as well. They think it's kind of an all-in-one. But like you said, it would be like expecting your funnel builder to write all the copy or expecting your car wash to, your automatic car wash to vacuum out the whole inside of your car too.
Or change your oil.
Right. You're just not going to quite get the same results. So it really is a partnership between the SEO experts and, the guidelines that are best practice and somebody who can make it sound good and appeal to the target audiences at the same time.
Yeah. And then there's also the sense too, you may write the copy and you might not have the keyword research or anything like that, but it still takes an SEO expert to be able to go into the back end of the website and tell Google what the keywords are supposed to be and what the page is about. And so you have to optimize it there too. It's not just optimizing it in the writing itself. There's a whole technical side behind the scene that has to be done in order to make it all work and click together.
Yeah, that's something I didn't realize fully until I had my own big girl website. Like I first started out with, a template website. And then I had a WordPress site built, and that was like, oh, this is a whole different ballgame. There's a whole bunch of stuff back here, and I don't even know what that means.
Well, like I love Rank Math. Rank Math is one of my favorite
Yes.
tools on the back end of WordPress. If you don't have a WordPress site, you definitely need one. They are the longest and most reputable website hosting with Google, but Rank Math is a fantastic tool. But I'll have people come to me and they're like, I added Rank Math and I have all green. And I'm like, but your keywords and. So it's going to come up green because you've used and so many times in your titles and your stuff. So again, even if you don't know your keywords, you can get green on Rank Math, but it's still not relevant. So you really have to pay attention to the particulars. People really fight to get that green or 80% or, depending which tool you're using. But if you're not breaking down the keywords and you're not using them properly, the tools won't help you either. So you really have to know what your strategy is and apply that from the design of the page to the writing to the SEO on the back end and your love language to Google.
Right. Google, love me.
Yeah.
So if you're a freelance copywriter and you're approached by a client who is like, I need some copy for my website, what are some important questions that you can ask them to determine whether or not they're really ready with the right keywords or with the right, support for you to be able to do your job well?
The first thing I would ask them is for their keyword bank. That is going to show you the research they've done. I asked them for their keyword bank. Even as an SEO person, like I want to see where they started.
Mhm.
So usually they're like, well, I don't have one. So they'll send me a short list of what they think their keywords are. And then I ask them what their competitors, who their competitors are. And so you want, as a copywriter, you would want that research done to know what are their competitors doing, because we would run a full competitive analysis. What's ranking, the keyword research that's current, because keyword research, people are like, oh, I did it 3 years ago. They change. I don't recommend doing keyword research less than twice a year, if not every quarter, because they change. The client really understanding their audience. And I'm sure you know this as a copywriter, but it was a rude awakening for me when I realized that we shouldn't be using copy higher than a 6th grade level unless we are working specifically with people that we know their education level is beyond that. Because we were the United States or, even in other countries, but we're a cesspool of all different cultures and all different people. And English might not be their first language. So we have to really understand, and that's kind of what Google's pushing right now, is understanding your audience and making sure that you're writing content that they can understand, process, and it's answering their questions. So really getting through to the client that this process is not about them. And they hate to hear that,
Right.
but it's not about them. It's about their consumers. It's not about the keywords they like and think should be used. It is about what is actually being searched.
Right.
Even in the SEO world, I can write stuff about SEO all day, but somebody might not realize that's what they're looking for. They may realize they have a whole page of bad things written about them on Google. And they're like, how do I get rid of the negative, and I have to look at it from that perspective, not, oh, we do SEO, reputation management, because they have no idea. A lot of people don't even realize that reputation management is part of SEO. So understanding to write around words like negative websites or trolls or, negative reviews, things like that, we would want to break it down even further that way. So understanding that as the writer of having that harsh conversation with your client that it's not about them. We need to really know who their avatar is, what their levels are, and then what they might actually be searching for if they had no idea your service existed.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. So what are your keywords? Who is your audience? And then wait to see, are they ready? Like, do they really understand who that is? And then if they don't, that's an opportunity for freelance copywriter to say, if you would benefit from a deeper dive into your target audience, that's a service that I provide for XYZ. It's an opportunity to upsell because it makes your job easier. It gets them better results, and Google's happy, so everyone's happy, right?
And again, it's an extra step as a copywriter, but it is something that you can offer for an additional charge. But like getting into their Google Search Console and seeing, okay, they have all this copy written. What is actually like, is there a page that has gotten a ton of traffic? Is nothing ranking? Because if nothing's ranking, then you need to just start from scratch.
Yeah.
But if they have a blog or they have a page that you see consistent traffic going to on a regular basis, then you kind of can go, okay, well, this is the style. Let's examine this, kind of like funnel hacking, but you're hacking the page. This is the style. This is kind of the grade level we're writing at. This is the information we're providing. These are the keywords we're using. And that can give you some more insight as well to what their specific avatar is looking for.
Speaking of keywords, there's something that I ran into early on as a freelance copywriter with a client where they wanted me to do keyword stuffing. Tell me, does that really work?
No.
Is that best practice? Or
no, Google will actually penalize you for it. Keyword stuffing is a black hat. So in SEO, you have black hat and white hat. Black hat can get you banned from Google. Like that's the extreme side of it, but Google will penalize you and drop your ranking. What Google wants to see is you answering questions that your search queries are pulling up. So if somebody says, how do I write a website page? You should have a title in there. This is how you write a website page, and then break down the valuable content that you're going to offer in a way that they can understand, because Google looks at it as they run their AI through it, one. And if the AI can't understand it, which they struggle to understand things as is, but if they're picking that word up, then Google won't rank it. It has to make sense. It has to be human readable.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that we're running into with AI right now in general, is that a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a copywriter, and they're using AIs. And we all love an AI for a writer's block or an idea guide, but they have to be human edited heavily because Google's already picking up on them.
Oh, that's such a key point, because I think even over the last 12 months, we've seen such a surge of like AI, even to the point where I've had copywriters ask me, is my job in danger? Are we a dinosaur, on the verge of extinction? And I tell them the exact same thing. AI can't give that personal feel and the story and the relationship connection that a real life person can. By all means, it can be a great framework. It can be a great jumping off point, but people don't want to read from robots. They want to read from a real person.
Yeah. I mean, and I look at it it's going to alleviate the people that can't afford you anyway. Because they're always going to be clients or consumers that are searching for the cheapest way. So you need to look at the people who are using AI as the same people who are going to look on Fiverr for a 20 cents per word copy.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
So, you get what you pay for.
You definitely do. You definitely do. So for those of you who are watching, we can see your comments, but we can't see who you are. So if you have comments or questions, feel free to drop them in, but just like mention your name, because for some reason we can't see who you are. So if you have comments or questions for Desiree, don't be afraid. We are here to answer those for sure. So if you have someone who approaches you, they already have an existing SEO team people that you can work with and ask questions of. So you've asked them, who is your audience? You've asked them, what are your keywords? Then what would be your next steps to creating that good working relationship with them? What should you do as a freelance copywriter as you get started?
So if they have an established team in place, I would ask them, what are their content opportunities? Because if they're an SEO team, they should have endless amounts of content opportunities. And a content opportunity is where they're regularly doing competitive analysis and they're building a list of content that they need to get published. Some of our big clients, we have hundreds of pages of opportunities that, like a bank that we could pull from and say, well, let's write this blog, let's create this page, so they should have that if they have a legitimate SEO team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you as the writer can figure out how to piece all of that together and do a series, or, plan that out to all flow properly.
What's going on in your marketing right now? How would you like to prioritize this? What's seasonal right now? What's atop of people's minds according to
what events do you have coming up in the next 6 months? Because that's the other thing. I love all of my clients dearly, but I do have the impulsive ones who are like, I decide I'm going to launch next week. I need a new page and I want it to rank. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. So really knowing what their 6+ month goals are. I love it to have meetings in January. I know that's not always possible in copywriting, but if I'm part of an SEO team for a client, I'd like to have a meeting in January, even if it's a rough draft. What do you have planned for this year? What are your goals? Because I can build the copy and the pages behind the scene and not make them live yet, but it gives Google enough time to crawl them, index them. And again, the buttons don't have to necessarily work yet, but we have that building so that when they say, oh, okay, I decided to do it tomorrow, I'm like, okay, make it visible.
Nice. So you can have pages behind the scenes that aren't published, and
they're published, but they're not, like, if they go to the website, there's nowhere to click and find it. But like somebody may, like, as they search, it may start to pop up, but we'll make the button like coming soon. So if somebody does see it, then they can't really take action on it yet, but it's starting to build that ranking because it takes Google, I mean, anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks to even like index your page.
Right. I mean, there's a ton of content being published all the time. I would imagine that, not that Google's like a person working 24/7, but there's just a lot of data to sift
through. If done right, Google is a salesperson working 24/7 for you.
There you go. That is such a great talking point that we could use with our clients too. If we're working with clients right now who really haven't gone into this, who really haven't looked into it, they're not really paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes on their website. Some of these talking points are great ways to add value, get them thinking, and potentially help you create partnerships with other service providers like Desiree, who can then help them get better results. I know I refer Desiree a lot to people who are like, well, I want to see these results. And, now I know the questions that I can ask that will tell me, do they need to talk to a funnel builder, an SEO expert, a branding expert? And I have all of these people that I can then help them. And it really, really strengthens the relationships and the trust that you have with your clients, because you're interested in more than just what you're doing for them. You're interested in helping them overall grow.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised. Like, I don't want to put any falsities out there. You can work with some of the biggest companies and they don't have SEO. They don't even have web developers. They don't have design teams. So when going into it, you may not have any information. And that's really hard for a copywriter, because you see these companies, especially if you're a newer company and maybe they're a seasoned company and you're like, oh, they have it all together. And you get behind the scene and you're like, how are they even operating? So you have to be patient with them and, bring in experts that you may know to help push that along. Or you could take, basic knowledge that you learn and offer that at an additional cost.
I think I've only ever worked with one super high profile client that has had all of the pieces in place. out of all, and I've worked with a lot of very large organizations, and only one has really had all those bricks laid, and it's not their fault. They normally they have experienced extremely fast growth, and they're triaging with what they have the time and resources to do right now. And so as they grow, they're going to need the support of freelancers like us who understand at a basic level the different levers that they can pull to start getting better results. And SEO is definitely a big one.
Yeah. No, for sure. And not only that, it's getting so much bigger. I don't have any qualms with any funnel building software, but people find it easier. It's kind of like going to TikTok to do research. They're like, I could find out in 60 seconds. But people go into funnels, they'll create funnels, build funnels because it's easy and they know how to do it. And I know a lot of them are growing, but those are things that aren't necessarily going to help SEO. So when you're taking the time to write this amazing copy, it's fine to put it in a funnel. We never want to duplicate content, but with this situation, it's a little bit different. But it's fine to put all of that information into a funnel that you're going to run ads to, because it's going to take a very long time, if ever even possible, to search that funnel in Google. But what I tell my clients to do, and you can always recommend to your clients, is put that copy on your website, make it an evergreen page, and then make the button bring them through the funnel.
Nice.
Skip all the beginning pages and just go right to the sale or, checkout page. But if you're spending the money on that copy, make sure Google knows about it, put it on a website, make it evergreen, and then lead them to your funnel. But keep the funnel to run ads to if you want to do that. But don't build your entire business and all of this money just to have that copy in a funnel and not searchable.
That is like worth the price of admission right there. That is gold. So where on the website would you suggest putting it? Would you create a blog that has the same messaging, or would you create a page?
So if it's an offer that's going to be evergreen, if it's, in their value ladder as their main product or anything like that, then I would create an evergreen page. If it's just an event, like a limited event, then maybe create a blog around it.
Sure. That's great advice. Yeah. So maybe you have a free challenge that's always running in the background, evergreen. That's a great page. Or, maybe you have something that you only launch 4 times a year. So maybe that's great for your blog then. Does that make sense?
No, if it's if it's something you do 4 times a year, I would have it as a page. If it's just like you and your team came up with a 6-day challenge that you're going to put out anywhere, put out randomly, then that would be a blog. But if it's something you're consistently doing year after year, or even for an entire year, I would make it evergreen. And then on the back end of the website, you can actually mark it as pillar content, which is almost like marking it like, oh, this is gold content that doesn't really change, versus a landing page or a blog.
Awesome. Well, it looks like Becky has a question here. She's wondering, does CartFlow have SEO? That's what I'm using for my funnels.
They all have an SEO feature, but they're not, like, you can't tell Google to index it. And I think that's where confusion comes, like with a real website, like WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, anything like that, like a true domain hosting website. You can put those into Google. You control those. When you're going into funnels, you're leasing a third party URL, if that makes sense. So you can't tell Google, I own this, crawl it, index it, here's all my credentials, like you can a website. And that's really where the funnels struggle, because you have some funnels that already white label off of a bigger funnel, and then you bring on, so now you're 3 tiers down. Having a website is your real estate. You own the domain, you own the hosting, you own the platform. And when you're using these third parties, you don't own. They'll rank because they own it. So that's kind of my advice with any type of third party funneling, because you could build a funnel on your own website. It's super easy.
Yeah. Very true. Very
Even like the
true.
milkshakes and the
Uh-huh.
link tree and things like that, we built those. Like for us, we put them on our own website, and then we just changed. So instead of .com, it's .online. So we'll
Mhm.
buy our subdomains and we'll host our own link trees because we're buying, that's our traffic. It's coming directly to
Mm.
us. We get to index it, we get to optimize it, and we get to keep all of the analytics for it.
Yep, that makes so much sense. I'm so glad that you're here today because it's reminding me of all the things that I need to be doing better on my own website, my poor neglected website. I tell you what, it's like the cobbler's children have no shoes. Like
It is. I mean,
freelance business owner has no SEO. It's so
but that's okay. It's never too late to start. And especially, like, I hate the R word, but especially with the fear that's going on in the world,
Mm.
whether you're buying into it or not, a lot of businesses are pulling back. So when we see these shifts economically, like,
Mm.
this is the time because your competition's so low. So this is the
Right.
time that you want to push that SEO because everybody else is pulling back. So your
Yeah.
keyword competition is going to get a lot less. You're not going to have as many people really focused on their SEO strategy or their marketing. I mean, it's across the board. It's not just SEO, but marketing, paid ads, things like that. People are pulling back. So now would be the time to really start to optimize and get that footing going into the new year before people pick back up.
Yeah, we want to be the ones that are there to fill in the gap because the opportunity is so great. Don't stop now, everyone. Don't stop now, for sure.
What do they say? Stopping marketing to save money is like stopping your watch to save time.
Right. It keeps going. You'll just get left behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be that much harder to reboot yourself on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, one of the things too, when you think about SEO, think about all of, I don't want to say it because mine will go off, but all these smart hubs we have throughout our house.
Oh,
Those are picking up drastically. And so SEO is coming into play a lot more for that as well. Because if we say, okay, whichever one you have.
hey, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza near me or dentist near me or, SEO near me or consulting near me, whatever that is, that's pulling from the SEO that's done
Right.
on the back end of a website. So I mean, I have my own theories of where that's going. I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be making all the decisions for you based on reviews and data and information that's provided. But they're already starting to use that. And it's being talked about in the copywriting world. It's being talked about in the SEO world, that it's going to require ongoing maintenance and things like that and ranking higher in search engine to work with all of our
Right.
own AIs around us.
Yeah. If you've ever tried searching for something that you know is there in person and you cannot find it online, that's a that's a red flag right there. There's a funeral home down the street from Grandma Carol, but it's not showing up anywhere.
Mhm.
It's not good. It's not good because where do
No,
people go when they want to know something? They go online.
and that's a huge misconception too, is people think, well, I put it online, so it's on Google. Google is no different than you or I in the sense that their indexing is like our CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody has to reach out to us to ever make it into our CRM. We don't just pull every single business owner and put them in our CRM. So when you tell Google, crawl my website, index it, if you're old enough, and I'm going to age us here really quick, but when you ask Google to index you, it's like you're being put into their Rolodex.
Yeah.
What you find on Google, Google has accepted through an index. If you can't find it on Google, then they haven't been indexed. They haven't connected with Google. They haven't asked Google to crawl their page. And I mean, it could take years. I've had people years. They're like, I write blogs twice a week. I'm here all the time. I can't find my site on Google. You never had it indexed. 2 years, all that wasted time. It's not indexed. And they'll say, well, I see traffic going to it. Yeah, because you're directing somebody to the URL.
Yeah.
They'll go to the URL. But if you're not getting consistent organic traffic, you're probably not on Google.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? If there's no squeak, if
Yeah.
there's no, you can't expect Google to read your mind. You have to tell it and give it permission
Yeah.
to go do it.
And if Google doesn't know you exist, nobody does.
That is very true. That is very true. In the online world, you might as well be invisible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know your time is super valuable, but I would love to put some more of your resources and mini courses. I would love to get that in front of my followers here because I know how valuable they are. So where can everyone connect with you?
So based on SEO best practice, my handle is SEO expert _ Desiree across all platforms,
Okay.
which if you're not doing that, you should be. It's another part of SEO to show Google that you have an authority and that you are legitimate. So everybody can find me there. My website is oneimpression.com. And then I have a 6-day free challenge coming up that I can't comment in here, but I will go back into the group and drop the link for it.
Yeah, please
So
do.
it gives
On
you
the
the first
video.
6 days of foundational SEO, which is really cool. And then we have our 30 days to unlock SEO, which some of your students have already went through, where that gives you SOPs, walks you through it. It's rinse and repeat, whether you're doing it for yourself or if you wanted to add it as an additional service to clients, just to give you a foundational learning.
Yeah, highly, highly recommend. Well, thank you so much. Thanks everybody who joined in. For those of you who are watching the replay, feel free to drop any questions you have and we can continue the conversation in the comments.
Yeah,
Desiree
just
will drop.
tag me and I will be happy to jump in and answer any of the questions.
Awesome. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.